Hi everyone, I'm Nick from iOS DevTools, and today I'm here to give you a quick intro on Arc. Arc is a new type of web browser. It's developed by the browser company. The browser company itself is a fairly new company. It is founded by a team of very smart and talented people, some of which include ex-Instagram engineers, founding engineer of Amazon S3, and many more. So they came to the conclusion that browsers today haven't really evolved if you compare it to, for example, the internet itself. Currently the browser is still in beta. You have to sign up to get a spot, so it's invitation only. I will link down below how to do it. I signed up and I get an invitation roughly a week after. I've been using it roughly for 2 weeks now, so I will give you a quick tour, give you some of my highlights and some cool features. So let's get started. So when you first install Arc, you're gonna see this page as a starting page. This is their introduction page. I highly recommend everyone to go through it because this page contains a lot of information you're gonna need. The browser has a bit of a learning curve. It uses a lot of shortcuts, has different takes on how a browser should be compared to, like, for example, Chrome or what you're used to. So I highly recommend everyone just skim through it. The links on there will redirect you to Notion pages. They contain videos, they contain explanation. So just have a sift through it. First, we're gonna talk layout. So the first thing you probably already noticed is this isn't your typical browser layout. Normal, like for example, take a browser like Chrome or Safari, they're all top browser layouts, meaning their tabs are at the top, their URL bar is at the top, extensions are at the top, whilst Arc chose for sidebar navigation. So at the top, you can see in sidebar is we have our classic URL field, just typed search, which is also for Googling. That's what we're used to today. For example, in Chrome, you can search hacking with Swift, and it just takes you to Google with the results. Below that, we have our favorites. Favorites are tabs that are visible all the time. They don't change. What's cool about the favorites is that some integrations have previews. For example, my calendar preview is going to show that I have a meeting in like half an hour. So that's actually a pretty cool integration. So it's a shortcut to a certain event, a certain link within a tool. Especially, for example, the Figma. I'm a big user of Figma. Every time navigating to those files, just having a quick link there just speeds everything up. So really nice in that part. Then below it, there are two main divisions. You can see here space 1, which is the default space when you're getting into Arc. And then below it, you see a divider and some other tabs. So what's the difference here? They want to reduce tab clutter. So meaning we all had this, you're in Chrome, a million tabs are open, you can find your one tab, half of the tabs are redundant, so they should have been closed already. What Arc is trying to do is they are trying to archive tabs automatically. So at the top, we have our pin tabs. Our pin tabs are tied to a space. And below it, we have our tabs that are not pinned, so they can be archived after a certain time period. And that is something Arc will do for you. So it will reduce the clutter of tabs. So I've been talking about spaces. What is a space exactly? When I'm at work or I'm working, I want to focus on work. So what they suggest is create a space for work. So I created a work tab. The work tab is designed to only be focused on work, meaning it isn't cluttered with my personal tabs, with maybe a Twitter somewhere. It's just work. So what you can see here is I added, for example, Notion, my App Store, Google Play, my GitLab. So the tools I use most often. I can add a tab here that says I want to add Firebase. So Firebase, Google. If that's a tab I use a lot, I can say Command D, and that's going to pin the tab. So that's making sure that Arc is not going to archive that tab after X amount of time of not using it. So that tab is always going to be available. I can do Command D again to unpin it. So I'm going to leave it as is. So that's my workspace. But yeah, of course, I'm not only working, I also have my personal websites, my personal tools. So I created a different one. I created a sports one. How to add a space is you have two options. You can click the plus at the bottom. You can say, I want to create a new space. For example, I want to create a new space that says personal projects. I want to add an icon to it. For example, for this, I can add this emoji to it. Then again, I want to, for example, pin a tab. I can say hacking with Swift, course I'm following. Say, yeah, I want to pin this because I use it on a daily basis. Let's pin it. And as you can see, as I mentioned in the previous section, is that our favorite tabs, those are the ones that are still consistent across all our spaces. For example, if we, in our Notion is used for my personal project, it is used for my work projects. I can say, okay, Notion, I want to drag it up. I'm going to put that here. And I can add a second Notion tab, for example, with again shortcuts. So we talked a lot about the sidebar, about the layout. One thing on the layout still to discuss is how to navigate it. Because your tabs are scattered across multiple spaces, it can be hard to find them again. For example, I have a tab open in my workspace, but I also have a tab open in my personal space. So Arc, of course, recognized the problem, found a solution. What you can do is, first of all, you can quickly navigate through spaces using control and then the number. For example, the first one is my default Arc one, the second one is my work one. What you can also do is do Control Shift, and that will bring up a preview of your open tabs. This is the command I use most often. Just easy switching between tabs. I can go from my 100 days of Swift in my personal project space, easy to my workspace, which is then my App Store Connect. So I highly recommend using this command. It saves you a lot of time. What you can also do, for example, if you want to add a split view, you can say split view, add split view, and it's going to open up a second tab in the same view, and then you can add, for example, a new website. You might have noticed I've been doing Command T a lot. Command T is a command center. So if you're a Mac user, you will recognize this. If you're a Raycast user, you will recognize this. This is a great starting point for all your commands. So if you do Command T, you're going to get some suggestions. For example, the open tabs. You can just hit it. You're going to go to the open tab. You can Google here. If you enter a new URL, it's going to take you to the website. But also, if you don't know the shortcuts for example, let's say you want to add a split view. For me, if I don't know the shortcut out of my head, then it's easier to just say, okay, Command T, split view. It's going to add a split view. And again, you can say, for example, Firebase. So Command T to open up the command action center, just start typing and you will find your command. Okay, now let's talk some cool features. And Arc really does have some. The first one I want to talk about is boosts. Arc has the idea that you should be able to manipulate the internet. So we always get served a website and we just take it as is. But Arc says, why can't you be the one that modifies the website? And especially if you're a developer with some CSS and some JavaScript skills, you're able to do so. So let me quickly just show you. So let's just take their website as a starting point. So this is the browser company website. And I want to say for this browser, I want to give it a white background because I don't like the black on black. Again, just an example. It's not like I hate it or it bothers me that much. I want to change it. Just an example. So what we can do is we can do Command T to bring up the action center, command center, sorry. And we can start typing boost. Then we'll see you have an action called new boost. Open it up. Then you have 4 options, which is style, replace, inject, and custom. For this demonstration, we're going to use style because I really want to change that black to white. Style. So what it allows you to do is it creates an extension on a website, and it's going to inject CSS or JavaScript. So what you can see here is a default template, and it's just a CSS file. So what you can do, for example, because I looked it up, I know that the ID of that part of the website is hashtag ___ Gatsby. You can say background color white. So you can see it injected this CSS into the website. Now the cool thing is, if you close it, close the browser company tab again. So the browser company tab is closed. If we open it up again, it's gonna run that extension every time you open that tab. So every time your custom CSS, your JavaScript is gonna get injected into the web page. And you can view it here. You created an extension, where is it? Manage extensions. You created style boost extension. The next feature is one of my personal favorites. It's a YouTube mini player. We know this from iOS, for example. If you are playing a video, you swipe away, it's going to open up a mini video on your home screen. Arc has the same thing built in. So let's go to YouTube. Let's search for a video by HTTP client. Let's open it up. So when it starts playing and you go to a different tab, for example, I want to keep working, it's gonna open up YouTube in a small video player, and it's still gonna be available in your browser. So if you're, for example, coding and you're following along with a tutorial, this is ideal to be focused on both. Keep the video player somewhere in a scaled down version while still being able to do your work. So that's a really nice feature. The next cool feature is a sort of drawing board. You probably have used something like Miro, FigJam are the most popular ones. Arc has their own built-in solution for this. They call it an Easel. So if you do Command T, start typing Easel, it's gonna have an action that's called New Easel. Enter. So it's gonna open up a new tab. And in this tab, you're able to do drawing actions. For example, you can say, hello everyone, basic, just text. You can manipulate the text with font sizes. Then they have some actions at the bottom. You can insert an image. You can insert new text. You can insert images, shapes, manipulate those shapes, squares, circles, basic stuff, arrows, and drawing features. But now they have something built in that is, I haven't seen it in other tools. For example, you have a website you're following along with. Could be, for example, a Pinterest board. And you want to keep your drawing boards up to date, so you don't every time want to go to Pinterest, take a screenshot, re-upload it. They introduced something that is called a dynamic screenshot. We can go to Pinterest. Let's open up Pinterest. For example, this is a starting page. What they introduced is this with a little button here, the camera. It says capture a portion of this page. And that is a little button here, so blah, blah, blah. capture a portion of this page. So if you click it, it's going to open up a selector. And as you can see, if you hover over things, it's able to pick out elements, which is really cool. So you don't have to pixel select everything, is able to do it on its own. But what we can do is we can select a portion of our homepage, and then we have some options. Save it to the library, copy, save, send it through iMessage, really cool. Edit, retake, but also new easel. If we click new easel, it's gonna open up a new drawing board, a new easel. We can call this Pinterest V1. And then you can see here, so this is just a screenshot. But what they did is this little play button. Let me make it slightly bigger. If you click this little play button, it's gonna make a live view of that website. So every time you open up your easel, it's gonna refresh the screenshots, which in essence is actually just some sort of iframe, I guess. And it's gonna keep your easel, your drawing board up to date with the latest screenshots. So really cool feature on that part. Next to that, like in FigJam, you can share your easels with anyone who has a link. And then you can choose, can they view it, can they edit it? You have options to share as an image. Then you can just get the image of your easel. So this browser still has a ton of cool features. If I were to talk about all of them, this video would take an hour. So I'm gonna do some sort of quick fire, just quickly go through them. And then it's up to you just to try it out. So cool one, they call it little arc. So if you do Command T, start typing little arc, with the shortcut being Command Option N, it's gonna create a new little arc window. For example, you're waiting on something to load. You wanna check out Twitter real quick. New little arc, Twitter. And it's gonna open up a small tab, in essence, that's overlaid on top of your current screen. So you can quickly browse and you see, oh, my download is done. Let's get back to business. Next one is the library. So if I were to go back to my first tab, on Mac, you can swipe to get there, or you can do Command T, say open library, and this is going to contain your files. So your recent files is going to be able to look inside your downloads folder, what happened within the browser, and also your easels. So it's basically a quick navigation tool, but especially for the files, super handy. Then the next one is just to show you how modern it feels compared to, for example, a Chrome. So if you go to maps.google.com, so the first time I opened Maps, I was really amazed. So you know how you see a phone without a bezel versus a phone that has a bezel? Same exact experience I encountered. So especially when you close a sidebar, which is Command S, you get this full screen browser. And for those who are attentive, I am located in Belgium. So this is just a full screen browser, and this was the first time that I saw like, okay, this is how a browser should be without all the top bar navigations, inputs, whatever, just full screen. Last thing I want to show you is the shortcuts. Arc uses a lot of shortcuts. You can use the command helper to help you out with that, just start typing. But as you go along, you will be able to use the shortcuts themselves. You can also modify them. So if you do Command T, if you want to modify them, say shorts, and then you get the option edit keyboard shortcuts, enter, and then you have the shortcuts and you can start modifying your Arc browser to your needs. So there are a lot of options, so it's gonna take a while, but I highly recommend you do it because some of them are a bit confusing or hard to do. So now, that's everything about Arc from me in this video. I'm gonna keep using Arc for now because I do see the value in it. It is a Chromium-based browser. So as a developer, I can also use it just for my development purposes. So my recommendation is sign up for the invitation, try out the beta. It really is a cool browser. I think it still has room to improve. It is a bit of a learning curve, but if you compare it to, for example, your Chrome browser, you're really gonna notice the difference. So that's my take on it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please give us a like. It really helps out the channel a lot. And we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.